Hello and welcome to the Andrew Tate Show by GSMC Sports. I am your co-host, Sarah. I am joined, of course, by Tate. We have a great show for you today. We'll be covering Game 3 between the Dallas Mavericks and the Minnesota Timberwolves, Game 3 between the Boston Celtics and the Indiana Pacers. We'll be talking about if the NCAA settlement can save March Madness, and then we'll be moving into celebrity news with a conversation with Demi Moore about vulnerability and doing nude scenes at 61. And then we'll be talking about Nicki Minaj's dramatic arrest in the Netherlands over the weekend, so stick around for segment 5. As always, I would like to remind you to like and follow the show. That really does help us. Also, if you would like a comment or a question read on air, you may do so by going to GSMCsports.net. We get a lot of questions and comments during the show. Going to GSMCpodcast.net and leaving a tip or a donation allows that comment to be seen by us. It puts it at the top of our list. Again, that is GSMCpodcast.net. Good morning, Tate. How are you?
All right. It's Monday.
It is Monday.
And this show has a tradition of having technical difficulties on Mondays.
We don't talk about these things. We do not talk about technical difficulties. How was your weekend?
Weekend was great. Just had a nice walk today and watched a lot of sports this weekend.
Well, then you are in the right place because you have a place you can talk about sports. Would you like to do that?
Which is nice. No, what about you? How are you doing this morning?
Doing okay. I had a dramatic run-in with a dog, except it wasn't dramatic. It was the cutest little puppy, but he would not leave. And I was worried about him because he was off leash. He didn't have a collar. I knew where he belonged, but he wouldn't stay there. So. It was a lot of drama to start the morning with puppy drama.
Excellent. That sounds like a band, Puppy Drama.
Puppy Drama. What kind of music would Puppy Drama play?
Oh no, that's a rock group. That's a heavy metal group. Puppy Drama. That's strictly heavy metal.
Okay.
So just saying. Okay.
All right, sounds good. All right, so we're going to talk about Game 3 between the Dallas Mavericks and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Let me just go ahead and get set up really quickly, and we will.
It's still you finished your first week on the show. Now you're a seasoned veteran. Got to be rolling smooth now.
It still takes me, those couple of seconds to actually click the buttons. So there's you got to do what you got to do. But the Minnesota Timberwolves faced a grim outlook in the Western Conference Finals after losing Game 3 to the Dallas Mavericks, 116-107, following behind 3-0 in the series. Despite strong individual efforts from Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns, the Timberwolves have struggled with poor shooting, combining for a mere 33% from the field across the 3 games. Game 3 saw the Timberwolves falter in the clutch, failing to execute down the stretch as the Mavericks closed out with a 12-1 run. Dallas's dynamic duo of Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving has proven too formidable for Minnesota. Doncic posted his third consecutive 30-point game, tallying 33 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists. Irving, reviving his career in Dallas, added 33 points, including 14 in the decisive fourth quarter. Their performance marked a historic achievement, becoming the first backcourt pair in 50 years to each score at least 30 points in 3 playoff games. The Timberwolves, who appeared strong in the semifinals against Denver, seem overwhelmed by the Mavericks' playoff experience and the star power of Doncic and Irving. Rookie Derek Lively II's absence due to a strained neck suffered in the second quarter has further hampered the Timberwolves. Likely an all-rookie honoree has been perfect from the field in the conference finals, and his loss was keenly felt. With a 3-0 deficit, history is not on Minnesota's side, as no NBA team has ever overcome such a deficit in 154 attempts. The Mavericks will look to complete the sweep in Game 4 with a potential NBA Finals showdown against the Boston Celtics on the horizon, as Boston leads 3-0 in their Eastern Conference Finals against Indiana. Spoiler alert for segment 2. All right, so Tate, thoughts on the game? It was really close, and then those last 3 minutes.
Matter of fact, we were kind of watching the game as we were getting ready, and you're like, "Oh, it's a lot closer than I was expecting." And then you look around again, and you're like, "Oh."
It's like
never mind.
It's like I don't even know. It's like I just sort of spaced out for a minute, and then I look up at the score and went, "Oh dear, yeah."
Now, and see, it's just weird watching this game. First off, they were talking about how you're talking about you have the first backcourt in 50 years to both have 30 points. And man, it's just been like, it's weird saying that Minnesota are not capable of competing with Dallas on defensively. Minnesota, who has been just praised all year about their defense, and it seemed like they were at a disadvantage. Might I even say, it was kind of like their defense was a liability. It just feels like to me. As I watch this game, there's no real. I just don't see any adjustments that's going to stop Luka and Kyrie. When you go and you look at Luka and Kyrie, and you're saying, "Give me 1 second." Sarah's having some difficulties here. Just click on my talking points there. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
My apologies. There was one button that needed to be clicked.
She's having difficulties here, but like Luka, there's no answer for Luka. I mean, they haven't been able to slow Luka down. 33 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. They don't have an answer. Then you look at Kyrie as well, and you're saying, you look around at Kyrie and 33 points with him, and you look at this and they're like, defensively, I don't think that there has been, from game 1 to game 3, there's been no defensive adjustment. It's like, I don't know what it is, how you can look around and just say the defensive player of the year is a liability on defense just seems impossible to say. Kyrie has just been, Kyrie and Luka has just been too much. And I think what Dallas has been doing that has been quite amazing on Rudy Gobert, which is forcing Rudy out further and further and further, where Rudy is more of a defensive stopper. By forcing him out, he's on an island, and then he looks uncomfortable out there trying to match up with Luka when it's and with the spacing. And the minute they get spacing, Luka's nailing huge shots one after the next one. And I just haven't seen any adjustments. Also, defensively, I feel like the better defensive team has been the Mavericks. The Mavericks have been the one that has been causing all kind of problems for Anthony Edwards, and Karl-Anthony Towns throughout this series. And yes, they had a better performance this game, but there's a gap there, and I don't understand it. When I look around and I watch these guys, I watch Minnesota against Denver, and handling Denver, but cannot figure out how to even make an adjustment to Dallas is just shocking to me. I don't know. I mean, I look at this series, and it is a 3 games to 0 type situation, and I already feel like this series is over. this series is absolutely over. I don't really see a comeback for, and when I say over, I'm looking at this series, it's going to be a sweep. The only thing that can be done is, can Minnesota muster up a game? That's what it comes down to. Is it going to be a true sweep, 4-0, or is this going to be a series where this last game, can Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns put it together to muster up one game? And I don't see it, Sarah. I don't see a way that Minnesota can turn this around. So
it has to be an odd place to be in because the stats are not on your side. 150. When I was reading, in 154 times, no one has ever come back from 3-0 to win a series. I mean, you have to be perfect, right? You have to win 4 games in a row.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
no, it's
that mentally, that has to be a really hard place to be in because part of you has that. There might be that tiny glimmer of hope. Yeah, we could do it, and then another part of you is like, statistically, odds are not in our favor.
Not only that, though, I kind of feel like you're there and you're like, okay, we gotta get a game. And so a lot of times, I think the reason why that statistic is such a huge gap is, I think a lot of teams have this, or players have this mentality where we have our pride. We gotta get a game. We have to get a game. But then when they get a game, then it's kind of like relief, like, okay, we didn't get swept. And that's why the gentleman's sweep is one of the more common things that happens, is you're looking around and you're saying, okay, how do we get a win? But on the other side, a lot of times, and this is the reason why I'm thinking about a sweep, is a team will come out and when they're down 3-0, they go all out. First quarter, second quarter, they go all out. Inevitably, in the NBA, the opponent always goes on a run. I got a little choked up there. Ooh, let me take another drink here. But the team goes on a run. When that run happens, a lot of times a team can get demoralized and be like, okay, it's inevitable. We're going to get swept. And then they lose. I haven't seen anything that shows me that Minnesota can put together 4 solid quarters to put together winning football. They can put together competitive football, but putting together on offense and defensively.
Are we talking about football or basketball?
What do you mean?
Are we talking about basketball?
Why did you say that?
You said football twice.
I said football? Oh,
yes.
Sorry about that.
And then
meant basketball.
Then I started saying baseball. We know what we're
It
talking
is
about
Monday.
Today.
I meant basketball. That was a total slip up. But that's why I was like, what are you talking about?
That's what I
Now, I can't see Minnesota putting together 4 quarters to actually close and win a series, win a game against Dallas right now. This is, to me, it's over. It's just a matter of will it be a regular 4-game sweep or a gentleman's sweep. But we can definitely, it's one of those things. Now, the question is, the dangerous thing I look at is, let's say they go through and they sweep them. The NBA Finals don't start to June 6th. That's a long layoff. That's the question right there, is that long layoff, what's going to happen? Because I'm already looking forward to seeing Luka and Kyrie in the finals against the other team from the East, let's just say.
But it's possible that the Celtics Pacers series could be over soon as well. They both might have long breaks. That will be interesting to see.
Yeah, it's been an interesting finals. I mean, Eastern and Western Conference finals. I was expecting when the finals when it was decided who was going to be in the finals, I was expecting both of these series were going to be 7-game series, and it's been anything but that. Now, I mean, quite honestly, I'm looking at sweeps on both sides. If you were putting my feet to the fire and you said you had to give an answer, I'm saying sweep on both sides.
All right. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about Boston and Indiana when we come back. In the meantime, you are watching the Andrew Tate Show by GSMC Sports, and we will be right back.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Welcome back to the Andrew Tate Show by GSMC Sports. Before the break, we were covering Game 3 between the Dallas Mavericks and the Minnesota Timberwolves. We are going to move on to Game 3 between the Boston Celtics and the Indiana Pacers. Before we do that, though, I do want to remind you that we do get questions and comments that come in during the show, and we would love to engage with those. If you want your question and comment to be seen and addressed on air, please go to gsmcpodcast.net. You can leave a tip or a donation that ensures that your question, comment gets to the top of the list, and we are alerted so we see that and we can answer that question. Again, that is gsmcpodcast.net. Now we are moving on to Celtics versus Pacers in Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals between the Boston Celtics and the Indiana Pacers. The Celtics scripted an exhilarating narrative of resilience and triumph. Initially facing an imposing 18-point deficit midway through the third quarter, the Celtics found themselves in a precarious position. However, spurred on by the indomitable spirit of their players, particularly Jrue Holiday and Al Horford, the Celtics orchestrated a remarkable comeback that will be etched in basketball lore. Jrue Holiday, despite being initially sidelined due to illness and labeled as questionable, emerged as the epitome of clutch performance in Game 3. His unparalleled display in the final quarter showcased nerves of steel as he orchestrated a flawless offensive surge, scoring 9 points without missing a single shot. Moreover, his game-sealing steal from Andrew Nembhard in the dying moments not only secured the victory for the Celtics, but also underscored his defensive prowess and ability to thrive under pressure. Alongside Holiday's heroics, the Celtics drew immense strength from the veteran leadership of Al Horford. Horford's historic shooting performance, highlighted by his 7 three-pointers, not only fueled Boston's offensive resurgence, but also etched his name in the annals of NBA history. His pivotal contributions, coupled with his invaluable experience, served as a guiding light for the Celtics during their darkest moments on the court. Despite facing adversity, the Celtics showcased unwavering resolve and unity, epitomizing the essence of championship-caliber teams. Head coach Joe Mazzulla's strategic acumen and the collective determination of the players propelled Boston to overcome seemingly insurmountable odds. Furthermore, the Celtics' defensive prowess, characterized by timely blocks and steals, played a pivotal role in stifling the Pacers' offense and turning the tide of the game in their favor. Looking ahead, the Celtics are poised to capitalize on their momentum and close out the series, aiming to secure their ticket to the NBA Finals. Their resounding victory in Game 3 not only reaffirms their status as contenders, but also underscores their unwavering belief in their ability to overcome any obstacle on their quest for championship glory. As the Celtics gear up for the next chapter in their playoff journey, they carry with them the lessons learned from their triumph over adversity, knowing that their resilience and determination will continue to be their greatest asset on the path to greatness. All right, so our second Game 3 discussion of today's episode. How are you feeling about this one?
Okay, now this is the game. This series here, if you're a Pacers fan, you have to be sick. You have to be sick, absolutely sick. You look at Game 1. They should have won Game 1. This is one of those series you're looking around and you're like, we should have had that one. They should have won this one last night. You cannot when you're in an Eastern Conference final with a team that is absolutely the superior team in the Boston Celtics, and you look around and you're saying, we should be looking at, we're up 2-1, and instead you're down 0-3, that is soul crushing, absolutely soul crushing. And you look around and you're like, Jason Tatum, despite everything that they've done, Indiana's played, a great series. And you look around and you're just like, Jason Tatum has just been more than they can handle. 36 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists. I mean, it's just, man. And then you look at the back, with Tatum and Brown, you're expecting Tatum and Brown to go up. Brown, 24 points. That's expected. But then the big one, this is the big one right here. And that is to look around and Al Horford. That's the one I wasn't expecting. No one was expecting that. 23 points from Al Horford was, everyone's talking about the old man. But you look around and he was 8 from 14 from the field. But the big one was the 7 3-pointers. Al Horford nailing the 7 3-pointers. That was the game right there. They had an 18-point lead, and the Celtics overcame that 18-point lead to win the game. And it's over. You look at this situation, and you look at this series, and you're looking around and you're just saying, what else can we do? We should be up. But instead of being up, we're down. We're down with, we're down with 3 games. The 3 games is 0. Defensively, the Celtics are too much. Offensively, the Celtics are too much. They're getting key minutes, key buckets from players they weren't expecting. This series is just not. Honestly, I don't know what else the Pacers can do. The Pacers have played as well as can be expected. There's not much more they can do. They're down 0-3. And if you're an Indiana Pacer right now, you're saying we can compete with these guys. Not only can we compete with these guys, we can beat these guys. But then you look around and you look at the score, and they've done everything they can. And you look at this, I'm looking at this as another situation where a sweep could be in play. You look around, I don't know. I'm like, Andrew, huge game. They're doing, Sarah, they're doing what they're supposed to do. When you look around, talk about a demoralizing loss. When you've done everything, you're up against a superior team. You've been able to compete against this team. You've had big leads, and then you look around and you're still down 0-3. What do you do?
That's even harder. I think that's even harder than where the Timberwolves find themselves because,
I agree with you.
The Timberwolves have the what if, but the Pacers have we're so close. We were so close, and it's still not enough, but to be that close.
They should have won game one. Indiana should have won game one, and that's the thing. They should have won last night. Part of winning and making it to the finals is you have to have confidence and you have to have momentum on your side. And Indiana should have confidence. They've shown they can compete. They should have momentum. They should have had a big game one victory in Boston. They should have won last night. Instead, they don't have any of that. And when you look around and you say you're looking at the Celtics and you're saying, okay, we can handle if we're up by 8, if we're down by 18, no problem. We can come back. We can overcome that. You need a big big stop. You need someone to step up defensively. Jrue Holiday, when you need a big stop, you need a big defensive play, you're getting it from Jrue Holiday. When you need a player that, the old man to come up, he's 635 and a half years old.
In basketball.
And yet he is still able, Al Horford, big three after big three after big three. 7 threes. No one had that on their bingo card. No one was expecting Al Horford to come in and give you 23 big point buckets, but then still be able and nail huge threes. And that's without Kristaps Porzingis. And right now, being up 3-0, there's no reason to rush Kristaps Porzingis back. They're gonna have Porzingis ready for the finals. I know the series isn't over. I know the Minnesota series isn't over. But you look around and I'm starting to think Kyrie Irving versus the Celtics in the finals, Luka versus the Celtics. It's already starting to write itself. I'm already starting to look to the future of the finals. What's going to happen in the finals? Because I look at both of these series, I look at them as both being over. No team has. What was? Do you remember what the record was about being down 0-3?
I would have to.
You mean that's what, like wild guess? It was a lot. Has anyone ever come back down from 0-3? I can't even remember. It's been very rare.
So it's been incredibly rare if it happens.
Yes, it is. I mean, it's almost impossible. You're asking a team to come back from an almost impossible deficit where
no one has ever come back from a 3-0 deficit. Yeah.
When you look at both of these games and you're seeing a backcourt where you look at Luka and Kyrie, you look at and they don't have an answer, and then you look around and you're saying, okay, you got Tatum and Brown, you got Porzingis on his way back, Al Horford's hitting huge shots, Jrue Holiday is balling out defensively, being able to do what he's done. There's not a lot of things that can be changed for Indiana. I look around at Indiana, and when you look at this series, when you look at both of these series, before the series, I'm like, man, this has been an exciting playoffs. I'm shocked because all the big names are gone, and it's been kind of disappointing. Mm-hmm. Where is the drama of the big comeback, the upset win? It's just been, I think 0-3, and that's what you have there.
I think you got all your shocks early in the playoffs.
Yes.
And now it's just sort of evened out.
Yeah, it's just kind of been, it's been kind of a letdown for me. I mean, even though this has been, both of these series have been exciting, they've also been a bit of a letdown.
All right, well, we are going to take our next break. When we come back, we'll be switching to college football, more on that $2.8 billion deal and what it might have to do with March Madness. So stay tuned. You're watching the Andrew Tate Show by GSMC Sports, and we will be right back.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
Welcome back to the Andrew Tate Show by GSMC Sports. We have been talking NBA Conference Finals, covering the Mavericks and Timberwolves in segment 1, and then Pacers and Celtics in segment 2. As I mentioned before the break, we're moving on to that NCAA $2.8 billion settlement. We have been talking about this, and I don't think it's going away anytime soon. I think that we've been talking about this for quite some time. So let me just go ahead and click on the correct things. As always, still working on the correct things.
Making those adjustments.
Making the donuts. Showing my age. Time to make the donuts. There is a long-standing tension within major college athletic conferences regarding the possibility of breaking away from the NCAA and establishing a new super league with its governing structure. This tension highlights the significant implications such a move would have, not only on the financial and competitive stability of the involved institutions, but also on cherished events like the NCAA basketball tournament, which relies on a diverse mix of powerhouse teams and underdog Cinderellas to create its signature March Madness excitement. However, the narrative takes a turn with the recent development of a settlement in the federal House versus NCAA case, stemming from the NCAA's decision to permit athletes to profit from their name, image, and likeness, NIL. The settlement, amounting to a substantial $2.8 billion, aims to compensate athletes who were previously denied the opportunity to benefit from their NIL. While this settlement represents a significant financial commitment, it also raises questions about its broader implication for the future of college athletics. A key aspect of the settlement is its distribution of payments, which places a substantial burden on both the NCAA central organization and smaller conferences, while the power leagues such as ACC, Big Ten, etc., shoulder a portion of the cost. This distribution has sparked debate and contention with smaller conferences, arguing that the power leagues should bear a more significant share of the financial responsibility, given that it is primarily their athletes who will benefit from the payouts. Despite the financial relief provided by the settlement, uncertainties loom over the long-term viability of the NCAA and the stability of college athletics as a whole. There is the interdependence between them within the NCAA framework. It also raises concerns about the potential for future legal challenges and the need for colleges to adapt to a shifting landscape where athlete compensation becomes a significant factor in the economic equation. Overall, while the settlement may offer temporary respite, it underscores the underlying tensions and complexities within the collegiate sports landscape, leaving the future trajectory of college athletics uncertain. So, Tate, we've been talking about this over a few shows, a few segments. We've got pictures going next to us in the slideshow with basketball. So let's talk about March Madness, and what are your thoughts on this settlement specifically in regards to March Madness?
Okay. I think this is going to save March Madness, and here's the reason why. I remember when I was younger, March Madness was a huge thing, and March Madness right now is still a big deal. But one of the big things about watching March Madness this year, the excitement was actually the women's March Madness. Caitlin Clark, Reese, at LSU, watching South Carolina come on and win it all. The reason why, the women's March Madness outdrew the men. It was the biggest women's March Madness ever. But I look at this whole settlement as a big injection into March Madness and how it's going to improve March Madness. Before, the world of college basketball was about the one and dones. They come in, they play their required 1 year, and then they're off to the NFL, to the NBA. This whole settlement changes this, Sarah. The reason why it's going to change things is because of the fact that basketball players and teams are already starting to make a dramatic shift to they want that true team who's been playing together for an extended period of time, knowing how to play. Hence the reason you look at Calipari leaving Kentucky. You look at some of the teams that are starting to win in March Madness. It's no longer the team that has the big superstar that just came in for that 1 year and moving on. These teams are looking around and they're saying, hey, they can make name, image, and likeness money. They can get paid at the collegiate level now. They don't have to go to the NBA and sign a two-way contract or wonder, are they good enough to make it to the NBA? They can go, they can develop, they can take a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, might I even say 5 years, develop their skills, and then move on to the NBA. This settlement makes it so that the NFL gets better. I think the NBA is going to get better because there's going to be more qualified players who have stayed longer in college and have been developed at a level that they're ready for the NBA and the NFL. But what it does for March Madness is now you get to see a player as a rookie, and you may not have known this player, but next year you're like, I cannot wait for this guy to come back. He's coming back next year, and he comes back. He's even better. He's a little bit better. By year 3, now they're household names. That's what's going to happen in March Madness, is now that these players are able to make an income, are able to get endorsements and name, image, and likeness, they don't have to rush and get out to go to the pros. So, because they're pros now. Now, professional players are players who make money playing a sport. Mm-hmm. Newsflash. These players are getting paid to play sports now. there's a different league. The big league is the NBA or the NFL, but the minor league professional players are the NCAA players. And I could definitely see a world now where a player doesn't have to rush off. There's players that are expected to be one and dones, and they came in. Let's say a Bronny James, who had a health issue, who didn't really have a big rookie year, but he has to hurry and go into the NFL or into the NBA to get ready for to start making money. Now you have a situation where these guys can get better, build their name, build their brand in college, and the NCAA March Madness is going to benefit from this. So that's the reason why I think this is going to be a big deal.
You know, you made a point earlier that kind of resonated with me when you said, you know, they don't have to just do 1 year. You can look forward to seeing them next year in March Madness, maybe the year after that in March Madness. And I think it makes the drafts a lot more interesting for the average
absolutely.
fan, because now you're like, you know what? I know this person. I've watched them play for 2, 3, 4 years. I know about their abilities. Sometimes I feel like in the draft, we have exciting new players, but we don't always know that much about them because we haven't seen much from them.
Yeah, look at like Caitlin Clark. I didn't know who Caitlin Clark was her first year. Last year, you heard a little bit about her. You heard a little bit about Reese. That third year coming back, and it's just kind of like, this is the big year. And I mean, her she's blown up, and you couldn't wait to see how well she's going to do. Well, it's going to happen that way on the men's as well, where they're going to be playing, you're going to learn about them their rookie year, you're going to see them break out their sophomore year, and then you can't wait. Not only that, year, 2 years, now you're going to know these names. Can't wait to see them in the NBA draft. Can't wait to see how well they're going to play in the NBA or in the NFL. There's a lot more players that are not going to rush before they're ready to go, because that's the number one thing that happens is you look around and it's just like this guy, he's a G League player, he needs more time, he's playing, now it's like, no, these guys are going to get prepared for the NBA by being at Duke and North Carolina and NC State, Michigan. These guys are going to develop and get better and better, and which means March Madness is going to be must see. I could see a world where the men's and women's March Madness grow massively, which then means more money, more viewerships for players, and it makes a big difference as these players are playing longer and longer. As they're more, you look around and you see players. I remember watching Patrick Ewing play at Georgetown and watching Michael Jordan play at North Carolina, and then next year play at North Carolina, and just get better and better. These guys didn't go right into the NBA. LeBron went right into the NBA, but some of these guys, they developed in college. Dean Smith working with Michael Jordan, John Thompson working with Patrick Ewing, Alonzo Mourning. That's going to happen again, and it makes March Madness a much better product.
Oh, I'm excited to see how this develops and watching players develop as we move forward. So we are going to switch away from sports when we come back after this last break, or this next break of the episode. We'll be talking about Demi Moore and doing a nude scene at the age of 61. So stay tuned. You are watching the Andrew Tate Show by GSMC Sports, and we will be right back.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
Welcome back to the Andrew Tate Show by GSMC Sports. Before the break, we were talking about that NCAA settlement, some possible repercussions, not repercussions, but impacts it might have on March Madness. Interesting choice of words there, I know.
There's consequences and always repercussions. Just letting you know.
Thank you for that. We're gonna switch pace though here and do a little celebrity news, which we don't often do, but we're branching out. We're gonna try something new, and I know Demi Moore is one of your favorite actors.
I was gonna say something new. Demi Moore isn't something new.
No, she's not new. She's been fabulous for a long time.
I was gonna say something old, but
no. But something new for us in terms of segment. Right. We don't do a lot of specifically celebrity news. We often do oddities or dumb criminals.
No, I get you. So go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No problem. Demi Moore, at 61, looking fabulous in the slideshow next to us, discussed her experience of going nude for her new film, The Substance, which premiered at the Cannes Film Festival. In the movie, she played an aging star who takes a drug to rejuvenate herself. Moore emphasized the vulnerability and rawness required for the role, acknowledging the sensitivity needed. She praised her co-star, Margot Qualley, and highlighted the importance of trust and communication in such scenes. Early reactions to the film have been positive, with an 11-minute standing ovation at Cannes. Moore has previously appeared nude in films like Striptease and The Scarlet Letter, as well as famously on the cover of Vanity Fair while pregnant. She views these moments as opportunities for self-expression and empowerment for women, and I certainly remember that Vanity Fair cover.
I didn't even think about that one.
You and I are both maybe a little older, so we remember Demi Moore in what could have been her prime, but she's still going strong. I mean, if I don't look this good, and I'm not 61, so if I look this good at 61, I will be so very happy.
Okay, first off, I'm going to say this. I picked this topic because I have always been a Demi Moore fan.
Sure.
I've been fortunate enough to work with a number of different celebrities in my career, and I'm not really a celebrity guy. I never have been. I work with people, and it's just like, okay, he's a guy. He's a normal guy. Most celebrities that I've met, I'm not really that blown away by. But there are a couple of small group of celebrities that I would fangirl over. And Demi Moore is one of them. I had a massive crush on Demi Moore from a kid all the way through high school to college, and even now.
Sure.
I saw the clip that Demi Moore is going to be posing nude in the movie at 61, and it's not like, ooh, it's really.
But that does bring up an interesting point, because not to bring things down, but on a more serious note, some people would say, ooh, a 61-year-old.
Dude, that's Demi Moore. Listen, I'm when I hear that, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but when I hear that, I'm like, I've got to go check that movie out.
Well, hopefully you'll check out the movie for more than just, but it's okay. I mean, there's an entire website based on telling you exactly when nudity happens in movies, right? So.
Listen, you go to a place maybe for dessert and you're surprised the meal was really good too. Okay. Man, who would have guessed that the Cheesecake Factory had good prime rib? Okay. That's all I'm saying. I may be going there for the cheesecake, but the pasta is slamming. Same with Demi Moore. I may be going to the movies for one thing, but a great movie broke out. Okay.
Now, can I just say, I'm not trying to make, but this is very vulnerable. She does talk about the vulnerability of the situation, because not only is she 61 and people are going to judge her even more so than they might judge her at 40 or 20 for being nude. You are in a room, it's not like it's just you and a camera person. You're in a room with, I don't even know how many people are on set at any given moment. And you are 61 and being like, okay, I'm just going to take it all off and here we go. That takes a lot of courage.
I've been on some sets, and not sets where there's someone incredibly famous taking their clothes off, but a lot of times when there's scenes like that, they kind of empty the set.
Sure.
So that it's not like all the looky-loos aren't showing up there. There's not a bunch of Andrew Tate sitting around there just like, okay, let's see what's really going on here. No, they tend to empty the set out so that only essential camera people are there for that one. So it's not, you don't picture like on this day there was 75 people on set. You know what I mean? It's down to just the key people that need to be there. The sound guy, maybe the sound guy, the camera guy, maybe the director, me, and maybe a publicist or someone like that. It's very few people on the set when those scenes are shot.
That's still potentially more than most of us have been nude in front of.
Right. Yes.
I think about the places you let, maybe the gym. Maybe there are people in the locker room at the gym that you're nude in front of 10 people.
You want to say?
I'm now trying to calculate how many people have I been nude in front of at any given time.
I'm not even going to answer that one. I'm not going into that one at all.
I'm curious.
So we're gonna leave it. We're gonna leave it at that.
On inquiring minds.
But yes, I would. It's kind of funny how it works. This is the story. Demi Moore at 61 is going to be nude in the movie. It caught my eye. It's going to catch other people's eye. And it is that Cheesecake Factory effect. You're going there, you know about it for its dessert, meaning a lot of people are going to tune in to watch just because they want to see how does she look at 61. Mm-hmm. Even you were like, man, you see these pictures, all these pictures that were up, were all of Demi Moore this year. So, you know what she looks like, but when you bear it all, it's kind of hard to hide behind nothing. Mm-hmm. And, the fact that there's a woman out there that looks good enough and it's not about looking good enough. It's having the confidence and the ability to say, you know what, I'm badass no matter what. I can do this. And, it's empowering. It's also, living in Europe and going to the beach, and you see these older women on the beach at an advanced age.
Rocking the bikini.
You know what? And you can be older and still be sexy, just like Demi is 61 and still sexy, still confident, and still doing, breaking through barriers. That's the thing that makes Demi more awesome, all the way from Ghost Ghost was in the 90s?
I believe so.
Yeah, from the early 90s, mid to early 90s to 2024. And she's still able to do these kind of movies and carry this kind of cachet, and people want to see her. So that is huge. I will definitely go see it.
Well, to your prime rib cheesecake point, it did receive an 11-minute standing ovation at the Cannes Film Festival. So there is something to this movie that's not.
I'm gonna keep it real though. If Demi Moore took her clothes off in front of me, I would give her an 11-minute ovation as well. Oh, wonderful, absolutely. You were talking in the movie? I didn't. I'm sorry, I missed all your lines there, Demi. But Demi is
You're up here.
I'm a huge Demi Moore fan. Like I said, when I was younger, I was a Demi Moore fan. So of course I want to see.
Okay, favorite Demi Moore movie?
Ooh. Most thought-provoking was Indecent Proposal. Mm-hmm. Man, there's a bunch of them. G.I. Jane. I really like G.I. Jane. I may be one of the few people that might have saw G.I. Jane. That's maybe my favorite Demi Moore movie. That's the one I've seen the most. Here's a crazy one. Ghost is probably my least favorite Demi Moore movie. Yeah, that's probably the thing. Her most famous is my least favorite.
I totally coveted her hair in that movie and got mine cut short because of that. Because there's a lot of short hair in the period of the 90s.
Yes.
But she had good hair in that movie. Why was it your least favorite?
I don't know. That movie, I mean, I was young at that time. I wasn't a fan. That movie I was not a fan of, and I don't want to bash the movie because that's
wasn't your taste.
Yeah, it was. Some people, it's one of their favorite movies, and I've met people that's like seen that movie 20, 30 times, and it is like no. But G.I. Jane, I've watched G.I. Jane a bunch of times. A little bit more action. You know, she's at her peak at that time as far as her popularity. But no, I've always been a supporter of Demi Moore, and I still watch her movies right to this day.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and take our final break of this episode. When we come back, Nicki Minaj was arrested recently in the Netherlands. We'll be talking about that. Stay tuned. You are watching The Andrew Tate Show by GSMC Sports, and we will be right back. Welcome back to the Andrew Tate Show by GSMC Sports. Before the break, Tate was, dare I say, fangirling over Demi Moore and her new movie. We are moving to a different celebrity news story now, and that is that Nicki Minaj was arrested over the weekend. Let me go ahead and give you some of those details. Nicki Minaj's recent arrest in the Netherlands on suspicion of exporting soft drugs has sparked a whirlwind of controversy and speculation. The rapper, on her way to Manchester for a concert, found herself in the midst of a legal ordeal that resulted in the postponement of her show. Despite being released from custody with a fine, the incident has raised questions about the circumstances surrounding her arrest and the impact on her tour. Minaj was detained at Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam, where authorities alleged possession of soft drugs. This led to her missing her scheduled performance in Manchester, much to the disappointment of fans and organizers alike. While Minaj expressed her apologies and reassurances of rescheduled dates, the incident has left lingering uncertainties about the tour's future. Amidst conflicting narratives and social media posts detailing the encounter, Minaj's supporters rallied behind her, denouncing the arrest as an attempt to sabotage her success. The rapper herself took to social media to share her side of the story, alleging foul play and misconduct by airport staff. Despite her adamant denial of carrying drugs, the ordeal escalated, leading to her brief detention and subsequent release. As the saga unfolds, questions arise about the legality of the arrest, the handling of the situation by authorities, and the implications for Minaj's career. With fans eagerly awaiting updates and clarifications, the incident underscores the complexities and challenges faced by high-profile artists navigating international tours. So there's a lot to unpack here, I feel like. Do you want to jump in with your thoughts?
Okay. Now, when I saw the video first.
The video meaning Nicki Minaj.
Yes.
Recording as they were talking to the authorities were talking to her. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. But when people say that they were trying to sabotage her or attack her or anything like that, it was the furthest from the truth there. As someone who is from America, who lives in another country, also someone who likes Nicki Minaj, this situation caught my eye more because it's a fear that I have had. You're not in the U.S. any longer. And things that are legal in the U.S. may not be legal in other countries. We've talked about on this show where we talk about food that's fine in the U.S., that's not fine in other countries. Mountain Dew, stovetop stuffing, Kool-Aid,
food, and then like even allergy meds. There's certain allergy meds you're not supposed to bring with you.
There are a lot of different things. Each country has their own individual laws. And a lot of times as Americans, you think that America's laws should work for everywhere, and it doesn't. And, I felt kind of bad for Nicki because I don't think Nicki was trying to be rude or anything, nor I thought the cops were incredibly nice to her. But sometimes when you come over to other countries, taking an extra step to make sure, hey, this is legal in the U.S. but may not be legal somewhere else. That's why the term soft drugs kind of came up. Or looking at the Brittany Griner situation in Russia, where for the most part, in a lot of states, marijuana is legal. But I tell you what, you go to other countries with marijuana and you are in deep trouble. I mean, deep trouble. Could face years, depending on the country that you go to. So you could easily have that situation. I watched it a couple of times, and it's very clear that Nicki did not intentionally, I don't think she intentionally tried to break the law or try to smuggle anything in. I think she just wasn't informed, which can happen. She didn't understand why. She didn't even realize she was being arrested until she said, well, I'm not going anywhere until I get a lawyer here and things of that nature. And then the guy's like, well, we're trying to get you in and get you out so you can make your show. And she's like, I'm not going anywhere. And then he informed her that she's arrested. And it was like, oh.
The video, for me, the part of the video that felt the most compelling was when they just closed the door on the vehicle that was transporting. It was sort of this very like movie moment where the door slammed shut. It was a very heavy door, and I'm sure that moment had to feel like, what is going on? And I will say that, living in another country, I do have sort of like low level anxiety that there's something I don't know that's going to get me in trouble at some point. But I would say if you are someone that is traveling, you should do your own research. If you have a team like Nicki Minaj probably does, they should be doing research as to what is.
And see, in this one, she had landed in the Netherlands, but that wasn't her final destination. She was headed somewhere else.
Manchester.
She was headed to Manchester. So you land in the Netherlands, that's a whole different set of laws. So you could have a situation where, your ultimate destination is the Netherlands. Is Manchester. So or whatever country you're going to. Let's say I live in Portugal. So let's say my final destination is Portugal. And I may do my homework. And I can say, okay, I know I can bring this from the U.S. to Portugal. But like my last trip, I flew from the U.S. to Ireland. I was stranded in Ireland for a couple of days, and all my stuff was in Ireland. Well, what may be legal in the U.S. and Portugal may not have been legal in Ireland. So making that extra step to make sure you have everything.
And realizing that even though your final destination is Portugal, you go through customs where you land first.
Yes.
So that, and
that's what it sounded like. What happened there with Nikki was she flew, maybe, like I said, Netherlands wasn't her final destination, but her first stop in customs was in the Netherlands. And I can totally see how that could happen. You could even see how a slip up could happen where it's just like, hey, I checked it out. Where we're our final destination, everything we have in our suitcase is absolutely legal, and still find yourself getting arrested. She missed her concert. It was unfortunate. It's not enough I don't think it's enough to cancel her entire tour. I think that would be a little far, but I could totally see how she's not a victim. It sounds like she accidentally broke the law and she had a fine for it. When you see people upset, a lot of times it's because they're thinking about the laws and the rights that you may have in the U.S. But this is someone who's traveling outside of the U.S. and having to adjust to other international laws. I'm glad it was a soft drug violation, meaning it's just a fine. She's not going to go to jail or anything like that. And you live and learn, because like I love Nikki. I love her music, and I wouldn't want to see anyone get put in jail. Although jails in Europe are actually pretty nice.
I can't speak to that.
No, I haven't been. I'm just saying from the things I've seen, documentaries I've seen, it's very nice. And honestly, as someone, when you look at dealing with police officers in the United States, especially, if you're talking drug charges and things of that nature, though everybody that was involved, I thought was incredibly patient, understanding, and actually very nice and very conscious that, this was kind of a weird situation. So not as bad as I think people make it out to be. But I'm glad Nikki is free, because I like me some Nikki.
No follow-up to that. It could have gone many directions. So,
yes.
Wrapping up this episode.
Our anaconda don't want none.
Thank you for tuning in to the Andrew Tate Show by GSMC Sports. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to like and follow the show and leave us a positive review. It really does help. You can also follow the show on social media for more content and updates. You can find the show on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and more. So come find the show on social media. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining us for this episode, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work.